Right, 11 February 2024, and today I've got yet another update for you covering a whole lot of stories that are happening in Zimbabwe. And today is a Sunday. I want to cover everything that has been happening in Zimbabwe and also in the region. So today I've got quite a number of stories, and as you can see, I'm still in the dark. South Africa load shedding has reached another level. So I'm getting at least 6 to 7 hours of load shedding here in South Africa per day. So let's quickly go through this before I run out of power. I've been in the dark for at least 8 hours in the past day. So let's quickly run through these stories, and then I'll take you through the conclusion. I want to start with Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa has been doing very, very well. He has been launching his new party across the country. And yesterday we saw a massive response in Gweru to Nelson Chamisa. He is launching a party. And what they're saying is that they are launching a party without a name. So I want you to see what Denford Gadzore has said here yesterday. He's saying we are launching a party without a name. So look at that. Vaimbochema, a party, haina structures, haina constitution, this and that. This time tavura hombe, tauya ne party isina zita. This is amazing. This is amazing. Nelson Chamisa is someone that you cannot describe Nelson Chamisa, right? He does things that you cannot even describe in your whole life. So now let's look at the tweet by Nelson Chamisa before I take you to video. And this is the tweet by Nelson Chamisa. Every Saturday, Nelson Chamisa tweets about the Sabbath, the formula for peace and prosperity. King Asa did what was good and right in the eyes of the Lord his God, for he removed the altars of the foreign gods. He commanded Judah to seek the Lord of their fathers and observe the law and the commandment. So they built and prospered. 2 Chronicles 14 verse 2 to 4, 7. And then he says, Lord, help Zimbabwe. Save us, Jesus Christ. Blessed Sabbath. Nelson Chamisa, amazing, always coming up with new ideas and coming up with things that ZANU-PF cannot even imagine. So now let me take you to the video. And as I said, I've got a lot of stories to cover. Nelson Chamisa, you cannot kill the man. He's doing very, very well in everything that he's doing. Let's go now to the video footage in Gweru. There were thousands and thousands of people who attended Nelson Chamisa's launch, and let us look at it. Let's look at the first video. Nelson Chamisa doing amazing work, and you can see how big that crowd was. But I want to show you another angle. This is an amazing angle with Chivayo on the stage, and this you will see that there's even more people here. Right, so I think it's very important to point out a few things here. Nelson Chamisa is not present during these launches, but people are flocking to the launches. The launch in Harare did very, very well last week. Now we have the launch in the Midlands. And you must understand why this is happening and what is happening here. The launches are happening at houses. So I want to show you the Harare launch. This is the Harare launch. This is at a house. So they don't have to apply for any permission from ZANU-PF or from the police. So they're gathering at houses and people are flocking here. People who are addressing are unknown. So they're not popular people from the past. I don't know, this lady looks a bit familiar. But Chibaya and Ostalos are leading. However, you don't have the normal and ordinary leaders from the CCC. So this is the Gweru launch. You can see the blue, very well organized. They even painted the house here. Very, very well done. This is the Harare launch at the house. This is the Gweru launch at the house. And they are singing songs about Chamisa. So I just showed you these two. Now look back at last week when they launched in Harare. Right, so here what you're seeing is songs about Chamisa launching without the old leaders. There's no old leaders from the old political party. So what Chamisa is trying to do here is to separate himself from the old structures. There is no one here who was in the old CCC, who was in the old leadership team, except for Chibaya and Ostalos, and maybe a few other people. I showed you Denford Ngadzwore there. So the majority of the people that are in these launches by Chamisa, are not the old party. No one is going to come and say, I was part of the launch, I was part of the leadership, or try to steal this party. So Nelson Chamisa is certainly preparing for a big thing that is going to come, and he's doing very, very well. And as I said yesterday to you, Chamisa is extremely popular. If I display for you the results from the last election, this last election, which was just held last week, this is Chamisa's people, the ones that are written independents. You can see that Chamisa has got 1, 2, 3, 4 independents out of the 6 ones. So if Chamisa was to want to hold an election now, he would easily win back all his seats. These are the nominations here for 9 March by-elections. Chamisa is doing very, very well. He has not lost his support. He's got a lot of followers, and he's doing amazing job. And with the recall, in fact, the rerun that is going to happen of the election, Chamisa is easily going to reclaim his position in society. I do not know what is the strategy for ED in this particular case, because it's not working. Chamisa is going to maintain his popularity. ED just have to change his strategy, accept that Chamisa is popular, and work with him. You cannot oppose Chamisa continuously like this, because it's a waste. He's going around in circles. ED is going around in circles. All the strategies he's trying to come up with don't seem to work. So now let's go to the news. Nelson Chamisa are doing very, very well. The launch is extremely popular. Thousands of people have come to see Nelson Chamisa. I now want to go to the news. We've got a lot of news, and I want to start with Tshabangu. There has been a massive division in the camp of Tshabangu. There's going to be a press conference next week addressed by people like Albert. There's a guy called Albert there who is in the team of Tshabangu, Albert Mhlanga. And also people like Senator Phugeni are reported to be in it. If you go to the Newsday newspaper, Tshabangu has nominated himself as senator. But these guys are saying Tshabangu is taking instructions from unknown people in Harare. There is no discussion taking place in the CCC of Tshabangu. They just see decisions made, but they do not know where the instructions come from. So these guys are saying the appointments made by Tshabangu were not negotiated, were not discussed. So someone in Harare is giving Tshabangu instructions, and they think that this person is in ZANU-PF. So Tshabangu is being controlled by unknown people, most likely in ZANU-PF, and these guys want to jump ship. They want to go to Chamisa. I hope that Chamisa doesn't take them, because there's going to be more infiltration now if Chamisa was to take these guys. So I don't know what's going to happen. They're planning to take Tshabangu to court, and they don't want him to be appointed a senator. This is not Chamisa's people. This is the people that are working with Tshabangu. You can see that story in the Newsday newspaper. Then let's look at the situation developing in Zambia. Very, very dangerous situation developing in Zambia in terms of infights between politicians of Edgar Lungu and President Hakainde Hichilema. This week, this situation spilled into Zimbabwe. An opposition leader called Chishimba Kambwili fled into Zimbabwe through Chirundu border post without a passport. So they tried to stamp his passport at the Chirundu border post, and the officials from Zambia refused to stamp that passport. Then he fled into Zimbabwe without a passport. He spent a week in Zimbabwe. He's very, very sick. And the Zimbabweans had to extradite him back to Zambia. So I'm going to show you a video of him begging President Hakainde Hichilema here before the extradition.
Excellency, the President, my dear brother, please, I beg of you. My health is not well. I'm not well. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. Let me not die because of politics. I'm prepared to work with you. I sincerely apologize for all the bad things I've done to you and the people of Zambia. Please, my dear brother. Please, my dear brother. I'm not well. I'm not well. I'm overstressed. And my BP and sugar not coming down. Please, my brother. Find it in your heart to forgive me. Please, Napapata. I'm not well, please.
This is a very sad video of Chishimba Kambwili begging President Hakainde Hichilema to allow him to go to South Africa for medical treatment before that incident. Then he had to flee into Zimbabwe. The Zimbabweans sent him back with the Zambian State agents, crossed into Zimbabwe to pick him up. But he's now in a hospital in Zambia. He's very, very sick. Former President Edgar Lungu tried to go and see him, and he was blocked. They did not allow Edgar Lungu to see Chishimba Kambwili, who is also from the part of Edgar Lungu. The Zambian government does not want Edgar Lungu to come back as the president of the PF, the Patriotic Front. And this is where everything is coming from. Chishimba Kambwili is saying President Hakainde Hichilema wants him to endorse a different candidate from Edgar Lungu, so that Edgar Lungu doesn't come back. So this is a complicated topic. It's very topical in Zambia, but it's sad. It's sad what is happening in Zambia. There's a lot of distraction happening. People are being distracting President Hakainde Hichilema from his mission. You can see the letter here. I'm going to upload the letter that was written by the Zambian government. They're denying everything. They're saying they did not they did not take Chishimba Kambwili's passport, and he left it on the counter and ran into Zimbabwe, where he spent a week. They are denying that they denied him treatment. In fact, they're saying President Hakainde Hichilema had paid for a ticket for Chishimba Kambwili to be treated overseas. But he ran away because they sentenced him to 6 months in prison. He ran away, and this is the situation. I do not know what is going to happen here. He's been extradited to Zambia, and I hope he doesn't die, because that would be very, very sad if he was to die of the illness. Now, I want to go to Wicknell Chivayo. Wicknell Chivayo making millions, extremely wealthy. And it has turned out that Wicknell is not only making money from Zimbabwe, he's got electricity deals in Zambia, DRC, Kenya, on top of the money that is won from ZESA. ZESA lost a lawsuit against Wicknell of 33 million. So we're basically looking at someone here who is now using his money that he made from whatever he was doing in Zimbabwe to spread across Africa. So Wicknell is having all these deals. You can go and have a look at that story. It's also in the Newsday newspaper. Then in Mutare, there's a massive new development. The flea market at the center of Ntare has been demolished. NASA owns that piece of land, and they want to develop what is called the Mikos Park. It's going to have a hotel and a lot of other amenities at the center of Ntare. So Ntare is going to be completely changed. Ntare is one of the cleanest cities in Zimbabwe. If you go to the Ntare CBD, those guys can clean up. I think Bulawayo now is coming up under David Coltart. But what happened is that there was a ZANU-PF guy called Esau Mfumi. He had a corrupt deal with Ignatius Chombo, whereby they took land from NASA and gave it to Esau Mfumi's company. And now NASA was forced last month to enter a deal where they gave Esau Mfumi 29 hectares of state land so that they can get back that 13,000 square meters of land at the center of Harare. They're going to develop a mall there. They're going to develop hotels. It's going to be the center of Ntare. Ntare is going to do very, very well. So if you're in Ntare, you can have a look at that. They've demolished all those flea markets that were there. It's looking very, very nice. And Ntare, I tend to feel that it's underdeveloped. Ntare can do much better. There is actually no more in Ntare. Come to think of it, it's all those little shops that are all over the place. So NASA is going to do very, very well. And Esau Mfumi is out of there. He has already left. There's an agreement between Esau Mfumi of ZANU-PF and NASA. NASA did not develop the land, and Chombo used that opportunity to take the land and give it to Esau Mfumi. And as it stands right now, there is legal documents that have been signed, and NASA will be developing that property very, very soon. Then I want to go to the last story, which is very, very interesting. In Zambia, you can now get an injection to prevent HIV for 2 months. So the United States, I think through USAID, they've introduced an injection, and it's only available in the United States and Zambia, the only 2 countries in the world. So if you are that guy that likes women and you want to prevent HIV, cross over into Zambia and get that injection for yourself. Well, if they inject you for 2 months, you cannot get HIV. It's called PrEP. So you go over there to the Zambians. This is the only country in Africa with that injection. So you can go over there, find out the news about PrEP, where are the PrEP centers, they inject you, you're safe for 2 months. You won't get HIV. Then I want to go through some pictures so that we see what is happening around Africa. So I'm sure the Zambian guys will be the first to cross over into Zambia. It's what Madara is. Let's go to Chief Sawanyama. Right, Chief Sawanyama was installed on 1 November 2023. He's introduced new strict rules. No praying on a mountain, no selling of wild fruits, and what is the other rule? No wearing red clothes. That is the Chief Sawanyama has said that those are the new rules in the Manicaland. You cannot sell wild fruits, you cannot wear red, and you cannot pray on a mountain. He has also summoned a popular witch doctor called Sekuru Stole and told him to stop selling goblins. That guy has been selling goblins, money-making goblins. He has been stopped. Since from 1 November 2023, when he was appointed, this man has done a great job. And then we're going to look here at a very sad post by a family here. I found this interesting. 2 years since you were called to glory, Anka Dorothy Solole Zulu, who always treasure the fond memories, sadly missed mother, dad, sister, and brother. So these are in the Manica Post newspaper. You can go and check them out. These stories, Manica Post doing very, very well. Currently, as I speak, our normal newspapers are not yet out. So if you look at Herald and Sunday Mail and all that, they're not yet out. I don't have my copies yet, but I'm going to find out if there's anything interesting. I'll include it tomorrow in tomorrow's news bulletin. I'll let you know about what is happening in those newspapers. In fact, the Sunday Mail has come out. So what I'm going to do is let's go into the Sunday Mail now, and I'll take you through that Sunday Mail, you and me together. Let's do it so that we can see what is the headlines in the Sunday Mail newspaper. My network is very slow because I don't have electricity. So I don't know if Wi-Fi is slow or what, but it's very, very slow. I'm able to talk to you, but sharing and all that is very slow. So let's look at what the Sunday Mail is saying. And forgive me for the slow speed. Here is the headlines: crop conditions fair. Says experts. I don't know which experts they're talking about. Then 25 firms get note to install speed limiting devices. That is for buses and so forth. So, and here are the adverts. You can see Western Union here and Stuart Bank. They are advertising what they're advertising there. If you look at other stories here, what do we have? Japan keeps on keen on boosting business ties with Zimbabwe. Ndlukula launches a book. Who's Ndlukula? Ndlukula is Miss Dr. Divine Ndlukula. You know her, we always feature her. You can go to Gambakwe Media. You'll see that she is very, very popular. When we post about Divine Ndlukula, she gets thousands and thousands of views. People love her all over the world, not just in Zimbabwe. And then we obviously have the usual stories from Nyajonya. Then we've got, I think, basically the Sunday newspaper of Sunday Mail. I'm not really happy with the quality here. They don't have those stories that you can say are a Sunday story. I think the other newspaper that is doing well is the Standard newspaper. They do actually much better. This particular newspaper, I don't see any interesting stories here. Lots of adverts. You can see lots of adverts here. But in terms of actual stories, covering what has been happening over the week, take, for example, this Chishimba Kambwili story that I just told you. A man was deported from Zimbabwe. A politician. This story is hot in Zambia. It's not here. They don't cover much. I think they're doing desktop journalism. The Sunday Mail. I don't see any attention to actual breaking stories. In Senegal, right now, the election is just about to be postponed. They don't have it here. So I don't see the value of the news value of the Sunday Mail. I think they need to do a better job. Let's see what's happening with the Chronicle newspaper. So here's the Chronicle newspaper. Sorry, the Sunday Mail newspaper. All right. There is a story of the guy who's being looked for. If you go to my brother, Ezra Chisaswanda, there's a guy there called Malaysia, the one who goes to South Africa to pick up women. He's raped over 20 women. That is the story in the Sunday Mail newspaper. Then what are other stories that we have? Similarly, it's not really moving fast. We've got Tshabangu and Pulu in Senate seats. Gambakwe has already covered these stories many days ago. So the newspapers that we have are struggling to cope with social media. We publish multiple times a day, and they are struggling. They publish this days later. Then we obviously have Modi arranges free eye camp educational initiative for Bulawayo. Modi, I don't know why he wants to be an MP. It always baffles me. The guy's got money, and what is it that he wants to be an MP for? I don't understand. I guess there's something else that we don't know about being an MP that these guys are benefiting from. But basically, this is what we have. And then they featured here a young Warriors player, Tawanda Maswanise. That is the feature over there. So basically, nothing to miss in the newspaper today. I know that this newspaper has come out late, but I don't see much here that you can say you've missed. If I was to say, get a newspaper with your $1, obviously for the adverts, you go to the Sunday Mail, and for the news, you go to the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper is doing very well. They seem to put a lot of effort on Sundays. And then during the week, the Chronicle seems to put a lot of effort. I don't know if there's a different editor at the Chronicle and at the Sunday News. In fact, B Metro is another newspaper that is also there at in the Zimpaper stable. The Zimpaper stable is owned by the government, but is listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. You are saying Mashanisa Etase. Mashanisa said they are featuring him. They are featuring him, saying who is he, where did he come from, and so forth. So in fact, let me look at all the other comments and we'll wrap this up so that I can give you a recap. MS, I hope they could still be holding on 4 years later. Unfortunately, no electoral reforms and other ZANU-PF governments are waiting 2028. I don't think Mhlanga is going to get to 2028. Something big is going to happen to ED. ED is mismanaging the economy very, very badly. Right now, people can barely eat in Zimbabwe. ED is not going to get to 2024, 2028. The problem is not with Chamisa, it's with ED. Then Milton says, we know Chamisa won election and ED and ZANU-PF must just step down and accept defeat. We know that Chamisa won the election. We are waiting for the rerun right now. That is what we're waiting for. And then in terms of Wicknell, Goma always says, Wicknell's money is genuine. Why can't he buy ambulances, hospital machines? Chivayo. As I said to you, the Wicknell just won a 33 million order against ZESA. And Newsday or the Standard newspaper say he's got businesses in Zambia, Kenya, and the DRC, electrical deals. So when you see him flying around, he's going to his partners in China and all the other places. When he started, he was stealing, according to what you all know. He was kept in jail by Zach. This is not me making this up. But as it stands right now, you are probably seeing someone that is making millions now. It's like when you start, you don't start well, but he's actually doing well now from money in these other countries. It's like if you come to Zimbabwe, to South Africa here, you can see that I'm in the dark. This is serious. This country is not going to make it because of what's happening now. The South African economy, I said this over a year ago, they're not going to make it. Slowly, big companies are not going to come here. Slowly, you're going to see a deterioration. And eventually, you're going to start seeing the development of South Africa into something that you had never seen before. Because if you cannot provide power, what are you doing? And Jacob Zuma had proposed a nuclear power station before. And nuclear is the way to go. Nuclear is the way to go here. Away from me here, just a few kilometers from me, let's say 20 kilometers, there's a nuclear power plant here in South Africa where they used to produce electricity. That nuclear power plant is no longer functional, and that town has died. That was how South Africa was sustaining itself in the past. So I think it's actually quite tricky what's happening. And then Mukoma Adrian says, Gawaku sponsor coaching school. I think you can give me a shout and we'll talk about it. And then Mukoma Asam says, following Chamisa is a waste of time. Then Alex saying, Gabago, the issue of Chamisa saying can't talk to Chamisa because he left. Is that considered by Sadiq? It is being considered because that is where EDS presented it. EDS said Chamisa is no longer a leader of the CCC, so by the law of Zimbabwe, he's no longer able to be part of any negotiations. He's trying to put in Tshabangu as the person who is replacing Chamisa. EDS also managed to get a constitutional court ruling which says that the election which was held was free and fair. So whoever wants to challenge the election, the judges are simply going to point him to that constitutional court ruling. So in terms of the law, Chamisa cannot go to court or he cannot go to SADC the conventional way. The way that Chamisa can go to SADC is to create a situation in Zimbabwe that will make it impossible for SADC to ignore Zimbabwe. And that is to create a crisis in Zimbabwe. And one way of creating the crisis was for all the MPs to step down and to force a rerun. The MPs refused. This is why you see that Chamisa is refusing to work with them. Because if they had all stepped down in one day, there was going to be an election rerun in Zimbabwe. But they refused. The next option is for Chamisa to cause mass action in Zimbabwe. Mass action means demonstrations, stairways, inability to operate the economy. If Chamisa was to do that, then SADC could be forced to intervene. Thirdly, the guys from ZESA have given 3 months, or ZESA, they've given 3 months for dialogue to take place. Otherwise, they're going to provide a military solution. I do not know how serious they are. But what I know is that I first encountered or met the guys in ZESA over 3 years ago. So they're not new in this environment. They have been operating in the environment. I do not know what they're capable of, but I'm sure the Zimbabwe state agencies or intelligence, they know how much ZESA is capable of. My understanding is that these guys are based in the Middle East. And so those are the options that are on the table. First election after stepping down, everyone stepping down. And secondly, Chamisa causing mass action and everything stopping in Zimbabwe. That will get the attention of SADC. Or thirdly, the third option, the guys from ZESA who have threatened that in 3 months, they're going to come come butter ED. That is what that's what they said. I don't know if you can butter ED. It's not easy. I always tell people that do not underestimate ED. When you say you threaten ED, especially if you give him notice that we're coming in 3 months, you're most likely making a strategic and tactical error, because ED will be ready for you by the time you come. Whereas if ED is sleeping at his farm and he doesn't know what's happening, then Obato, that is a different story altogether. I don't think you can give someone like ED a warning to say we're coming there, because he's going to be waiting for you when you eventually show up. So Mgoa MS says, if all MPs step down and the government says that they don't have money to rerun Tshabangu, handpicks people to occupy the seats until 28, that's risky. It's true. I've already spoken about this. Tinopdai Shechinyoka has presented that option, and the amendment is coming. That amendment, they're going to put it in. ZANU-PF knows there's a hole there. They want to close it. And I'm sure within a very short space of time, they're going to get rid of by-elections in terms of people stepping down. They'll probably leave by-elections for people who die. So, like in other countries, if someone steps down, they're immediately replaced. So in South Africa, if someone steps down, they're replaced. But in Zimbabwe, if someone resigns or is recalled, then there has to be a by-election. So ED is aware of this, but my belief is that ED is not going to get to 2028. The situation in Zimbabwe is too bad. There is so much poverty. The currency has collapsed. There is no FDI. So we are facing a crisis in Zimbabwe, and ED is not able to address it without Chamisa. And he has to deal with Chamisa. That is what he has to do. There is no way that ED can ignore Chamisa. Chamisa is just too popular for him to be ignored. So let's end this with the 2 videos. I just want to play the 2 videos of the Gweru launch. Chamisa doing very, very well. And his launch was attended by thousands of people. So I'm going to go out with those 2 videos. Then I'm going to go out with the video of Chishimba Kambwili, who was deported from Zimbabwe into Zambia after he fled from Zambia, where he had been given a 6 months jail term.
Your Excellency, the President, my dear brother, please, I beg of you. My health is not well. I'm not well. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. Let me not die because of politics. I'm prepared to work with you. I sincerely apologize for all the bad things I've done to you and the people of Zambia. Please, my dear brother. Please, my dear brother. I'm not well. I'm not well. I'm overstressed. And my BP and sugar not coming down. Please, my brother. Find it in your heart to forgive me. Please, Napapata. I'm not well, please.
Right, thank you very much everyone for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll be continuing with this coverage. A good day to you all.